Rockstar's just had one of the worst weeks in gaming history. 200 employees have revolted, lawsuits have been filed, protests outside Rockstar offices, even the UK Parliament is now involved, and the whole thing's become an international crisis for the studio. This started as 31 people being fired. It's now the biggest scandal in modern AAA gaming, and it's only getting worse from here. I covered this last week, but here's the short version if you missed it. On October 30th, Rockstar fired 31 employees across its UK and Canadian studios. All of them were called into sudden HR meetings, told they were being terminated for gross misconduct, and given no explanation, no warnings, no evidence, just gone. Rockstar's official reason: they'd been leaking confidential information. The union's version is every single person fired was a union organizer. They'd been discussing workplace conditions in a private Discord. No leaks, no secrets, just workers talking about pay, hours, and how to make Rockstar a better place to work. That's where we left it last week, and it turns out that was just chapter 1, and chapter 2 is exploding. Rockstar tried to silence the organizing, and it's had the opposite effect. So within days of the firings, over 200 current Rockstar employees signed an internal letter demanding their colleagues be reinstated. 200 employees. That's roughly 20% of Rockstar's entire UK workforce. QA testers, programmers, artists, designers, people across every department. And here's the thing, they signed it knowing full well what could happen to them. The people who'd just been fired weren't underperformers or troublemakers according to them. They were union organizers fighting for better working conditions, less crunch, fairer pay. The letter went through the union to protect identities. Some signed it anonymously, others used pseudonyms, because the fear is real. One current employee posted that people at Rockstar are now scared, hurt, and uncertain about whether they're next, but they signed it anyway. For a studio like Rockstar, where secrecy and loyalty have always been the culture, this is unprecedented. You don't publicly challenge management, you definitely don't organize a mass petition, and you absolutely don't do it after watching 31 people get fired for trying. Except they did, and fair play, that takes some big cojones. But then things got legal. The Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain filed formal complaints against Rockstar with the UK Employment Tribunal. Not a strongly worded letter, actual legal claims. The charges: unfair dismissal and trade union victimization. And that second one's the key here, because it's illegal in the UK to fire or punish employees for union activities. Rockstar's NDAs, their confidentiality policies, their employee contracts, none of that overrides UK employment law. And the law's pretty clear, you can't sack someone for organising a union. The union's legal argument is straightforward: every person fired was a union member. They were discussing workplace conditions in a private space with union organisers. That's a protected activity. Rockstar's calling it gross misconduct, but that doesn't change anything. Alex Marshall, the union's president, put it bluntly and said, "We are confident that what we've seen here is plain and simple union busting." And here's what makes this even worse for Rockstar. They apparently had multiple chances to avoid this. The union reached out, asked to meet, requested negotiations. Rockstar declined every single time. So now they're in a legal battle. And if the union wins, Rockstar could be ordered to reinstate all 31 employees, pay back wages, loss of earnings, and face significant financial penalties. But more than that, it would formally, legally establish that what Rockstar did was unlawful, which is not a good look for them. And then someone on the inside started leaking what actually happened and how it all went down. A current Rockstar employee, still working there, posted on GTA forums. The moderators verified they actually work at Rockstar, and what they described is pretty grim. So the firings apparently happened individually. Employees got a message from HR: "Are you free for a quick chat?" 5-minute meetings if you were in the office, 2-minute phone calls if you worked from home. You walk in expecting a check-in. Instead, you're told your employment is terminated for gross misconduct immediately. No explanation, no evidence, no chance to respond. Just done, get out. One employee apparently had a panic attack when they got the news. HR just hung up on them. If you were in the office, security escorted you out in front of your colleagues on the spot. We're talking team leads, artists, QA testers, designers, some of them on sick leave, some whose visas were tied to their Rockstar employment, all gone. The crazy part is, for me, most of them apparently still want their jobs back. They want to finish GTA 6. They weren't trying to sabotage Rockstar Rockstar, they were trying to make it a better place to work. Instead, they got branded with gross misconduct and escorted out by security. Madness. And you think, surely that's as bad as it gets, right? Wrong. The protests started. Picket lines formed outside Rockstar's Edinburgh office, fired developers, current employees, supporters. Some of the people who'd been let go literally flew back to Edinburgh just to stand outside their old workplace with signs. A Scottish member of parliament showed up, stood with them, told the press that Rockstar needs to hold up their hands and admit they got this catastrophically wrong. Then it went international. France's Game Workers Union organised a solidarity protest outside Take-Two's Paris office. This wasn't just a UK issue anymore, it became a massive international nightmare. When your fired employees are forming protests outside your studio, the PR damage is already done. You can't spin that away. You can't call it a misunderstanding. It's visible, it's real, and everyone can see it. But most importantly, it's a disaster for your reputation. And if you thought the protests were bad for Rockstar's image, it gets worse somehow. The UK Parliament then got involved. A member of Parliament stood up in the House of Commons and raised the Rockstar firings directly, asked the government what steps could be taken to support workers and stop this from happening again. Now here's where it gets awkward for Rockstar. They've apparently claimed over £70 million in UK tax relief, video games tax relief, a government incentive to support the UK games industry. So that's £70 million of UK taxpayers' money, and now MPs are pointing out that the company taking that money is allegedly firing UK workers for trying to form a union. The PR damage is terrible. When was the last time Parliament debated a video game studio's HR decisions? Never until now. This has gone so much further than just some Twitter drama. This isn't even just a legal case. It's gotten so bad that the literal UK government is demanding Rockstar be held accountable. But none of this is random. There's a reason this happened. GTA 6 was supposed to launch in May 2026. It's now been pushed to November 2026. That's months of delay, months of additional cost, and months of nervous shareholders waiting for their $10 billion payday. Take-Two's projections for GTA 6 are massive. Estimates put it between 8 and $10 billion in revenue. That kind of money creates an insane level of pressure for anybody. And when you're behind schedule and your CEO's making tens of millions in bonuses tied to keeping the costs down and profits high, a union organising during crunch becomes a massive problem. This isn't a mystery. It's what happens when your studio answers to shareholders instead of the people making the games, money over everything, quarterly profits over long-term stability, executive bonuses over employee dignity. That's the system, and Rockstar just showed everyone how it works in the most brutal way. So why does this matter if you're just someone who wants to play GTA 6? Because that same system that does stuff like this is the same system that produces crunch, burnout, mass layoffs, and developers leaving the industry entirely, and games made by terrified, exhausted developers who can't even question terrible decisions. They make worse games, more formulaic, less ambitious, less risk, because ambition and pushing for better means putting yourself in the firing line. This is exactly why AAA games only get worse each year. This isn't some isolated incident, it's just the latest example of a system that prioritizes profit margins over the people generating those profits. Rockstar's not unique. They're just the ones who got caught doing this publicly. It's just another day in the rotten AAA industry, I guess. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. It all helps me out massively. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.